everybody, my name is Farmer Phil. We're here with Bro and Liv, and it is the midwinter weigh-in where you're going to be weighing cattle from all the different batches in the yard, so we can get an idea of how they're coming on and a couple of different things we'll talk about as we go along. It is -2 degrees, the sun is just starting to set, and this lad is in shorts. Look at me and Liv, covered to the nine. But this lad anyways is going to clean out the passageway of the calves while we weigh a few, and we have a bit of sorting to do to take out the heifers out of it, and we'll talk about that as we go through it. Anyways, he's not going to be too bad because he's going to be in the shafer, and there's a lovely heater in the shafer, so he won't feel it too much.
That's if I remember.
Shorts, and it's -2 during this cold snap. But anyways, me and Liv are going to do the cattle work, but first things first, we get them all off the rape into the shed, from the shed to the yard, and we get a bit of sorting done. But they are first on the hit list. Go for it.
I already smashed these this morning. They've refrozen.
All the starlings. You can see the freezing fog down. It is bitter cold, so we won't take too long. We're only going to weigh a handful of cattle, run a few through the chute just to get some estimated weights. We're going to let bulls down here, and we're going to put our heifers in there. The reason the heifers and bulls are together so far was so that we had a lot of cattle eating rape, to try and get more of it, as much of it as we can eaten, because once we take the heifers out, they'll be going in that shed there and they won't be able to get any rape. So we needed to get as much of that eaten as we could, so we're quite confident now. The reason they are that bit mucky is because up till now it has been wet enough and the field had got a bit mucky. When the field is mucky, the cattle get mucky. It doesn't matter how well the shed is bedded, they bring in the muck from outside, and the muck that is on them is only clay. It's not their own muck. It'll reduce the numbers there, and we'll put our heifers in there, we'll get some weights and we'll see how they're doing. Also, this video is sponsored by Herdwatch. As you know, Herdwatch is the farm app that we use recording basically everything that goes on in the farm. They've sent us up a wedding present and Christmas presents. They're after sending us up bib and brace, which I have mine on, just in case you forget my name, Farmer Phil. But not alone that, the best thing that they sent up, the wedding present, they've sent us up an EID tag reader, something we have been looking for a long time. So we should be able to scan deer tags in the cattle and it'll bring up their numbers, making life easier. And if we really get into it, get the right scales and get all connected up, weighing cattle is going to be an absolute dream.
But it's on charge.
But it's on charge, so we won't have it today, but we'll have it for tomorrow when we are weighing and sorting out the heifers out of that shed. Anyways, we better get stuck into it. Check out Herdwatch, there'll be a link in the description down below. So, we weighed a speckled park 0.75. This lad here, 220. How'd he do? 1.13. Which is quite good. Usually we'd rarely get, well, I suppose we have to weigh the rest of them. But once we get an average, the chute full, it's a very mixed batch. We have some big ones, some small ones, just to see what that average is. Go back. He's 225. What's his number? This is where the ID tag reader will come in handy. 6731, 2444, 165. Right, we get these weighed and we see what the average is. So we just weighed 8 there. What would you say the average weight is? About 195, 200 kilos. The average daily weight again we had from 0.5 to 1.1 was it? I'd say we're averaging about 3/4 of a kilo a day at the minute. The reason we're doing that is because they're on the rape at the minute and we haven't given them any red clover silage. And when reading on the rape, it was a high protein kind of a rape, so it should have helped growth rates. So 0.75 on average would be slightly ahead of what we normally would. We generally be quite poor in the with our weanlings and their daily weight gains in the first winter. That's why we were trying the red clover. So now we have 40 bales. We'll try and stretch it out maybe half a bale a day or 3/4 of a bale a day, and we'll see what kind of a difference that makes. It's not a lot across them all, but we'll just have to see. It's that thing. We'll take the weight now and we'll try something different, and we'll see is there any difference or marginal gain to be made there. We'll finish sorting these out because it is cold, and we'll get them all back where they should be. Happy out, Liv?
Cold.
Cold. That is the cattle sorted. So we took 21 out of the batch and we put them in here, and we have a lot of light heifers to take out of there to go in there, so we can put the heifers on the finishing rush, and that'll be happening tomorrow. And it's annoying to see the cattle as dirty as they are. For all the bedding, we're bedding them every day, and they get cleaned out every week, where we just clean out along the feeding passage, which is the only bit that gets anyway sloppy in the shed. But it's just the bit of muck that's outside in the field, that's where it's coming from. Not too bad. The weight's at an average of 8 cattle of around the 3/4 of a kilo. I know to some that's not great, but to us, I think that's an improvement on other years. It seems a bit on the high side for us. Will be interesting to see when we start including the red clover. Will we see any difference? Will it increase, or is the quantity of red clover we have not enough across the amount of cattle that's there? These guys are happy there. The other ones are in their shed, and yeah, we'll pick it up tomorrow when we go sorting the heifers, the bulls, and we clean out them sheds, the bulls there, and then we see how they're doing. Pick it up tomorrow, and hopefully our EID tag reader is working, and we'll be able to quickly scan through cattle as they go through the crush, which will be so much easier. So it's another day and it's another batch of cattle. So we have our bulls out from the near side, so we're going to put in 6 of that and weigh them. But what does Liv have? Liv has a lightsaber. Thinks she's going to add in the sound effects. That is an EID tag reader herdwatch is after sending us as a wedding present, and I have to say we are absolutely thrilled to get it. That was on the list for next year. Every year we buy one more item for stock handling. So one year is the cordless slippers, one year is the scales. Every year we tend to buy something. That was next year's buying, so that's just freed up that. But when we get them in and that, we'll show you what it does. We're putting a few guys here. So that's one of the Jersey boys. Not our best Jersey boy, but just to get a feel for how they're doing.
Hello, Jersey.
None of the real big guys are in there, but looking nice and plump, so they are. Fat covers are getting there. Like there's a nice bit of squidginess in them now. We haven't started feeding any sugar beet yet, so this will be a way in to see the difference in feeding the sugar beet, what it does, and we get kind of an idea. They need that little bit more just to get that bit fat, and hopefully the sugar beet does the job. So this will read. So if I press enter to read, now I just have to scan. So the bulls, these batch of cattle, only some of them will have EID tags. So we'll find out. They're all on the left ear, unfortunately. I don't think he has one. 2834.
He was 410, I think.
Yeah, he was 410. Let him out. Oh, he's a tag. Jersey boy, 557. So I press enter. I scan. And there is his number. So I get that straight away. 557. 365. What do you do?
Kilo a day.
Kilo a day. The Jersey boy, pedigree Jersey boy, kilo a day. Quite happy with that. See what Speckled Park has done. 4027. Yeah. 480.
Kilo a day.
Kilo a day. I would be aiming for anywhere from 1.3 to 1.5, but this is what it is. It's the same as last year. Last year our daily weights were down, and we made a video on what we thought that was. 2809. He won't have one. 425 kilo a day. So it's looking like we're averaging a kilo a day. So that is 6 cattle weighed. So we had 4 over a kilo and we 2 under a kilo a day. So it is a bit of a mixed bag. I would like to see them doing more, but that's just what they're doing. It's much the same as last year. We made a video on why we thought that was last year. So I will take a hit on daily weight gains because we're saving a lot of money by producing all the feed ourselves. I'm happy we're a Jersey boy, kilo a day. It's not bad when he's keeping up with the rest of them. But he is small, but he'll be going to the farm shop. And on that too, next Thursday we fresh beef back to the shop, and it'll be the first of this year's cattle in the shop, or D's batch. It was at the other side of the shed. But when it comes to our lightsaver, our EID tag reader, this will connect to the app on the phone, so when you scan animal, it'll pop up on the phone. And if we had the right weighing scales, which I'm going to tell Father Phil we need to get one, this will connect to the weighing scale, so when you scan animal, records the weight, and it'll go onto the app. So easy. Scan animal, you have the number. Saves trying to read tags, which is probably the most time consuming part of working with cattle. From next year onward, all the cattle on the farm will have EID tags, and it's going to speed up our job so much. And big massive thanks to Herdwatch for sending this to us. But anyways, we'll fire these lads back into the shed, and we'll get the next pen of bulls cleaned and out and weighed and see how they're doing. But these would have been the middling batch of bulls, so the next batch to come out would be our best batch, and we'll see how they're doing. So we are here with our biggest and hopefully our bestest bulls. These are the heaviest going into the shed and had done the best, if I remember rightly. So we'll try and get one of the speckled packs at 6 in, and we'll weigh them and we'll see how they're doing. So I'll bring down one of the speckled pack just so we have a comparison between the one and the other pen. There's his lads. We'll have enough of them now anyway. On the scales, 1464. So we want to see 520 kilos. So the bulls are still 1464. Sorry, 1462. 520. So the bulls are still 60 days away from getting to a point where we'll be, the most of them will be going to the factory. We will have some gone before then, but we still have, there's over a month's feeding yet to go into them. So what's he done? 0.77. Oh, 0.77. So we still have lots of time to get more on them. 28.71. 435. 0.65. 0.83. 82. Do you have him?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a good bull now. Lovely amount of fat on him there now, as there is. Come on, put your feet up. 585 kilos. 0.88. Still under a kilo. Scan speckle. 39.52. 535.
0.55.
0.55. So what was our averages, Liv?
0.75.
About 0.75. Not great. I'm disappointed now. Very annoying to see, but the weights are still good. All the way, our average weight was over 500 kilos, wasn't it? So weight wise, the cattle are fit, and we still have the guts of 60 days to go into the most of them. They'll all get another 30 days, but above and beyond that, we should have about 30% gone, and then the rest will go after that. They're shaping up nicely, but they're not getting the weight. We only weighed 6 bulls in a batch of, I think there's 48 here, or 47. So it is only a drop in the ocean, and you could literally just have picked the 6 wrong bulls. We don't have time to weigh them all, and I don't have time to stand here talking and trying to figure out what could be different between this pen and that pen. But that's why we weigh the bulls, that's why we like to weigh everything, is so you can see what's performing, what's not performing, see is there any difference between pens, batches and all that, because when you decide them things, it lets you make more educated decisions. Anyways, we're going to put these boys back into the shed. Disappointed, but at the same time, we're not buying in any meal. So it's another day. We'll have our heifers out, so we're going to go through them now. I think we have 15 to 20 to take out between bullocks and heifers. They aren't going to finish. Taking them out, putting them in with the other calves we took out of the shed the other day, so they'll all be going back out together. And the reason we're doing that is so it's time to start pushing on. The other heifers are finishing. I'm not expecting anything spectacular weights in that, because we've only been feeding them by silage. They're well fed, but we're only feeding them silage and a bit of whole crop, just to keep them tipping along nicely, because it's too early to start finishing them, as our heifers are always last to go to the factory. And for those of you who are wondering, the factory as the terminology we use in Ireland for the people who buy the cattle to slaughter them to turn them to beef. So that's when I refer to cattle and factories. That's what I mean. The factory is what we call them. They are a bit dirty, and we actually have scrapers while we're at the plough, and we ordered new Automatic scrapers, and we're still waiting on a timeline to get them fitted. So we're still on scraping up and down every other day, which is annoying, but hopefully now when we get the new scrapers in the shed that it'll solve a lot of that. Especially there's heifers there be bulling every now and again, and they just put muck up on each other. In for Liv to come in with a bit to give us a hand. She's just back from town, and we get these a few weights, see how they've done. We're ready to go. It's absolutely Baltic. I normally don't film with my hood up, but it's just so bloody cold. I don't think it's got above freezing today. My wand connected to my app, so we're going to get stuck into it. It brings up the animal here. 315. No, that's bad. It's not great at all. But she's just over the cut. So she's just over the line. Go read this one. Brings up the next one. She's no better. 320. She's done slightly better, but she's above the cut line too, so I'll give this to Liv. No, she doesn't have an EID tag, and this is where we get kinda caught. Come on, up you go. 80. We know what weight to work when we weigh them, so we don't need the list at all. What'd you do, 0.7? That's not too bad. So, just said I'd show you this one. This heifer here is called Two Face, and she is one of our ones that was let out last year. We have her weighed in, she's 500 kilos. So this is what you get. You either go for, you let them out again, you get an animal like that that's going to come into some money, but you have an extra year. Whereas you either try and push them on and you kill them about 450 kilos. If you're lucky, when they're that light, going in for finishing on their second year. It's not too bad. That's generally what they come into when they come back in for after the third year. But still, it'd be much nicer to see them all going at their second year, not their third year. But anyways, nice bit of a heifer that. So it's another day and another batch of cattle to weigh. But you would have seen we were working on the heifers last night and the camera died. In this cold weather, you leave the camera out for not that long and the battery just does not last with the cold. I might need to get new batteries. We weighed all our heifers. We weighed all the heifers. So it's very handy to have it if we're going to get the next batch out. But the heifers, you had everything from a kilo a day back down to some of the real life ones doing 0.2, 0.4. So it's a very, very mixed batch. So we took out all our live ones. They're now in there in the bedded shed. They'll be going back out to grass. They'll put on another 200 kilos for that extra summer at grass, and then they'll come in around the 450 to 500 kilos for finishing, and we'll get them into something decent. At the minute, there's no point because they will not come into anything. On daily weigh-ins, yeah, it's very mixed bag. Some of the good heifers doing 1.9, 0.8. You had the poor ones. Some of them in there doing 0.2, 0.4. It's are as good as they've ever been, but her daily weigh-ins are just a little bit. Need a little bit of a boost. So we're just going to weigh one pen. I'll weigh a couple out of it just to see. But on a visual, the bulls on the slats are doing better than all the other bulls, all the other cattle. They're that bit more rounded. They seem to be growing that bit better. Like even our Jersey boy there isn't looking not too bad either side. So it's one of them things. I want to just put them out, see what they're doing. I'm on my own. Liv is away in town, but I'll manage the bulls by myself. They're nice quiet boys, so we'll put down the camera and we'll let them out. We're here now. I'll start screen recording. That's his number, 3929. Come on, up you go. Come on. 100. We'll go load up the chute with some more. Some there good with 2 light, 2 poor lads done poor, but the rest so far are doing 0.87 up to 1.09. That is the boys weighed here, so they're doing the same as the other lads, averaging there around 0.9 is what they're doing. So all the bulls, with the exception of about 2 I think it was I weighed, they're all doing 0.8 to 1.1, and that was much the same in the other sheds. These bulls though do have a bit more condition. They visibly look to have more condition on them than the other 2 pens of bulls. There's bulls there fit to kill. There's about 4 or 5 bulls there that had meet the mark. There's a couple of bulls there need 20-30 kilos more to bring them to the minimum weight, but we still have 2 months feeding to go in them, so there's another 60 days to go on the finishing ration. We'll go put the boys back. There's 360 there. That lad there reared himself on about 70 litres of milk. We couldn't get him to feed on the feeders. He wouldn't even suck a tit for us. But he turned into a lovely bit of a bull there. Didn't you, 360? I always remember you so well. Alright boss, we'll go back in the shed. We will. We'll go back into the shed. But anyways, that's all the cattle weighed now. So, gives us a snapshot of how things are going. So, Bull's back in the shed. Nelly was here. She gave me a hand, the dog. She's turning into a right little cattle dog. She can be a nuisance sometimes, but today she was very, very helpful getting them run back in there. Just something I want to say, just while I was working with the bulls. One thing people often say in the comments is, why don't I have a stick for working with the cattle? There's 2 reasons why you rarely, I nearly never seen me with a stick in my hand while working, even with the bulls there now and any time we're working them. And that boils down to 2 things. One is that it takes away the opportunity for someone to misuse a picture or a clip of a video of me with a stick in my hand. And the other thing, and it boils down to something a bit more historic on the farm. When we used to be pedigree limousine breeders, breeding stock bulls, and we used to be doing a lot of showing and that. Before my time, it was the thing my uncle used to do, was never have a stick while working with his cattle, his limousines. And he always found that left them that bit quieter and easier handle. It was just an observation of his, and we carried it through to working with these. And we switched over to the phone again. 58% battery it says on the camera, but just keeps dying. The reason Uncle Ian always found that the cattle were quieter and easier handled without his stick, and going as they progressed they always went. So that's one of the reasons why. One of the things though with the bulls, because we hand reared them, they're well used to us, they're well adjusted to people. Most dangerous animal in any of them pens of bulls is any of the ones that were pets. The likes of 360 there. He was a lad when he was a calf. We dealt a lot with him. Honey coddled him, trying to get him to drink. And then when he was on the field, he always come over here for a scratch. And when he's bigger, he still comes for a scratch. But because he's a bigger boy, he's more likely to do harm. So it's the pets are the ones that are the dangerous ones, the ones you have to keep out for when they get to that size. There's a big difference between bulls like them and then stock bulls. Stock bulls tend to be a lot more dangerous compared to bulls that have never been with cows. That's an observation we've always had. All said and done, all weighed, we have only weighed a few cattle out of every batch, every type. Right, looking at 10% of the bulls weighed there, 10% on the other side. The heifers, we did weigh them all just so we could scan them and find out the ones we want to take out. The calves the same way, weighed about 10% of them. So we've only really peeped in through the keyhole. They're all shaping up, they're building, they're bulky, they're shaping up well. But the daily weigh-ins just don't seem to be there. I think that is down to protein. We do have the beans, but I don't think we're getting sufficient amounts or the right amount because of how it was half mixed in and not just ideal. I think it's protein is where we're short. And a dangerous thing to be thinking, but I'm half thinking, I have to chat to Father Phil about it, but maybe whole cropping the beans next year. Talking to a friend of ours in Northumberland, Callum, and he was telling me that up there most of the beans are whole cropped and fed to cattle, and it's something that we never even thought of. And it may be a better way of getting a more even amount of the beans into the cattle, putting it through the whole crop, putting it in as whole crop, so harvesting with the silage harvester, processing it and into the pit. It may be a better way. To be the idea, maybe I seen it before in Eggerland, someone grew soya beans in Ireland and whole cropped them, Whether it worked or not, I don't know, but it is something to think about, to consider, because I think that's what we're missing, is just enough protein in the diet. Could buy in soybean, but I don't want to. I'm quite proud of ourselves to be able to be fully home produced beef finishers. And for such a job to be done on the cattle of all homegrown produce. I've ranted on long enough about the cattle and how everything is doing. Could be better, but we live and we learn, and we see what adjustments we can make next year to see can we increase it. More thing before I finish, the EID tag reader is some job. You seen it, how just handy it was there. Scan, bash, and the reason we're in left ears is to do with our calf feeders, so that may be something we'll look at. Now we have one of these, it would make much more sense to have it on the right here. Just to finish the video, if you want to check out more from Herdwatch, you can check them out in the description down below. I'll leave a link there. But anyways, other than that, we're finished for today's video, so I hope you enjoyed it. Snapshot, looking in through the keyhole at a small bit of the picture of how the bulls are doing. But all in all, it won't be till we actually send them to the factory and we give them their final weights before we really get the full picture of how they've done this winter finishing period. Right, we're going to leave it at that for today's video. As always, please like and subscribe to videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday. That's it for me. Good luck.